Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is the second hour of the Kris Avalon show. That was a clip of Isaiah Washington talking about the reason why he was fired over at ABC, that there was some sort of racism and stuff involved. I did not understand twice the name that he had mentioned on the show, in the clip, because he was talking so damn fast. So, I guess he was saying basically we'll just wing it. There was somebody that I guess was behind the scenes that had a personal vendetta for Isaiah, and he felt that that was the reason why they pretty much kicked him off the show. But meanwhile, I think what played into your firation was the fact that you used a homophobic slur against T.R. Knight, who was your co-star on the show at the time, calling him all kinds of faggots and things. So whatever the situation was, and then you had Monique trying to bring this whole thing up, and there was a clip, damn it, I really wish I would have brought it on, but, and that I would have put it on as part of the show throughout the week. I wasn't really thinking about it, but now, of course, it kind of mixes in with this. Adele Givens, look it up on YouTube, the clip is up there. She actually spoke out about Monique, and the thing she had to say about the whole Monique Netflix situation, she said, I ain't giving up no damn Netflix. There's too many shows on there that I watch. But so many words that she had made some pretty interesting points about the whole Monique situation that was going on with Netflix and the boycotting and the racism and the gender bias and all this stuff. And what she said, basically, to paraphrase, but go on and hear the whole thing, it's like maybe 2-3 minutes of a clip, maybe longer. I'll say about 5 minutes to play it safe. But she basically was saying that racism and gender inequality existed long before there was a Netflix. So if you're going to address that, you saw the clip too? He's like 7 minutes. The thing with Adele basically was saying is that this whole situation, racism, gender inequality, all that stuff existed long before there was a Netflix. When she won the Oscar for Precious, why didn't she bring up gender inequality and all this other same stuff that Frances McDormand and all these other people over the years have brought up, and using that Oscar platform as an opportunity to push forth their political views? Monique didn't say that because she was so happy to be up there shucking and jiving and winning an award for basically playing herself. You cannot tell me that Monique was not that bitch that we all saw in Precious. I believe there were certain parts of her she had to dig down up in the part of who she was to bring that person out. I truly believe that there was a little bit of Monique up in that character that she played up in that movie. Because nobody can just act their way. Like, I could just pull it from some place. I was really into my act. Look, in acting, they teach you to kind of go to that place that you're familiar with to bring out that character. So if you can go into a place that you may be familiar with, be it you may have seen it from friends, you may have experienced it as a child, and all the other stuff, even we all knew from the abuse she dealt with as, as growing up with her father. What was it? Her father, somebody had sex with her, or something. Oh, who was it? The brother had sex with her, and then she told the mother, and then the mother was like, all of that comes around. Like, hello, Precious dealt with that. Her damn father raped her, and she had the baby that she referred to, not me, as a mongoloid. So, all of that, she was pulling from a place that she was familiar with. And I truly believe that. I know, because, once upon a time, Kris was acting. And is getting back into it. So I would just say that back. Oh, yeah, thank you, it was her brother. So thank I got my other person here to remind me of stuff in case I forget. Okay, so, I'm going to give a shout out to Rita Owens, who is Queen Latifah's mother. She passed away earlier the week. She had a long battle with heart issues. I feel bad for Latifah because she's basically like the only person left from that whole family that's alive. So I think to pass on that legacy, Miss Thing better get pregnant or something. Because, or I don't know how that's going to work. I just hope now, and I don't want to go there, but I'm going to go there. Latifah, you maybe feel free to live your authentic truth as a full-on lesbian. You ain't got to hide no more because, your mama's gone, like all the other stuff. Eat the pussy anime, eat it. But anyway, speak of... yeah, I doubt it. She'll come out when Tyler Perry comes out. Okay, speaking of eating the cake anime, Angela Bassett basically said that she deserves an Oscar for playing Tina Turner. And I have to say, I totally agree. When did that movie come out? That movie had that come out like over 20 years ago. What's Love Got to Do It was like one of my favorite movies growing up. I absolutely love that movie. I had no idea the amount of abuse that Anime Bullock endured at the hands of Ike. And that movie was great. I do feel that at the time when I was coming up, I wondered why she didn't win an Oscar for it. And I'm glad that Angela Bassett is finally admitting what we've all known. Okay, so it has been like 20 years if it came out in 97. Angela Bassett is finally acknowledging what we've all said for years, that she deserved to win that Oscar, just like I believe Lawrence Fishburne. Don't call him Larry. I know firsthand how that whole situation went down. I probably didn't tell y'all this story, but there was a time when my teacher from high school probably still is, good friends with Lawrence Fishburne. He actually came to a dinner that we were all having, and one of my classmates made the mistake of calling him Larry, and he damn near flipped out on that bitch, and she damn near lost her motherfucking mind. So he was like, it's Lawrence. Like, got into her ass immediately. Took her to school with that one. So if you want to see an old black man queen out, you better look at some old Lawrence Fishburne. Don't call him Larry. So, okay, let me stop. Now I'm carrying. Okay, so yes, we all agree that she deserved it. But then on top of that, Tina Turner is now speaking out about how she says she's finally forgiven her former husband Ike for years of physical and emotional abuse. Here's what she said. She said, "As an old person, I have forgiven him, but it would not work with him." I don't know. She's 78, because I know she's been 71 for like 10 years already. So I'm glad we finally got that real age, Tina. Told the Times in a recent interview. He asked for one more tour with me, and I said, no, absolutely not. Ike wasn't someone you could forgive and allow him back in. It's all gone or forgotten. However, she admits to sometimes thinking of Ike, who died in 2007. That's about 11 years ago, or 10 years, because I don't know when the exact date. So it's 2018 now. So it could be, we could still be on that 10-year mark. I don't know what the dreams are about, she said. The dreams are still there, not the violence, the anger. I wonder if I'm still holding something in. The pair split in 1976 after she showed up at a Dallas Ramada Inn in a bloody white suit, a scene made famous and What's Love Got to Do with It, a biopic about Turner's life. The divorce was finalized in 1978. In Taking Back My Name, his 2001 autobiography, Ike partially acknowledged his behavior, saying, "Sure, I've slapped Tina. There have been times where I punched her to the ground without thinking, but I never beat her." So what do you qualify as beating? Like, is it like you literally had to take a pipe out and beat the bitch until she's unrecognizable? Until she looked like literally Jason Voorhees without the hockey mask? Like, did she have to look like that in order to be considered getting your ass whooped? I don't know, the jokes just come, people. Okay, but anyway, now speaking of beating people ass, Trey Songz, let's talk about him. Miss Thing done turned herself in after being accused of beating of allegedly hitting a woman. I'm wondering when that queen coming out the closet. Trey Songz surrendered to LAPD to face a felony domestic violence charge early Monday morning, and the singer turned himself in with his attorney Sean Hawley. And you know, Sean Hawley, is that the black woman, the one that was repping Lindsay Lohan all them damn years? I think that's who that is. For the alleged incident involving a woman he was out with in LA last month during NBA All-Star Weekend. He was booked at 6 in the morning and released shortly after 8 in the morning. He posted a $50,000 bond. Songz is accused of brutally beating Andrea Berta at at a Hollywood Hills party, where she claims he was upset because she was talking to another man. Right around the time he surrendered for booking, Songz tweeted, "I am being lied on and falsely accused for someone's personal gain." I have to say this, and then there was, what was that? When I was watching Wendy Williams and that dumb bitch in the audience, they called her out for saying, "Well, he could beat me." Really, queen? So now the funny thing is, you can get your ass beat by a celebrity until it actually happens, and all of a sudden you hoes want to turn up and want to all of a sudden sue because you bitches love a coin and a lawsuit. So for you to sit there and say that you would welcome him beating you because he's attractive, I think is the dumbest thing anybody could freaking say. And do I believe this story? I do believe it, because I'll just use two words for an example: Keke Palmer, and that's all I'll say. Google it and you'll know what I mean about Keke Palmer and Trey Songz. So let's move on something a little more positive, which is not HIV positive, but just positive all around. Even though I may talk about a topic. I do have an HIV positive topic on the docket. Ooh, that rhyme! I'm a poet and I know it. But anyway, Diddy and Jay-Z. Congratulations to them, because now I'm hearing that well, in a new GQ cover story, Diddy revealed that he and Hove have teamed up to create an app designed to help people locate black-owned businesses. Child, I'm gonna hit you. You talking about you would for a coin? You would get your ass beat for a coin. You better stop. The idea, which is one that stems from the long-standing thought that black people can empower themselves by building their collective wealth, is that their app will ultimately make it easier to help black people find themselves or help themselves. I think that's an amazing idea, and why nobody thought of this earlier. Even myself, I'm kicking myself for not coming up with this concept. I think it's really smart for Diddy and Hove to put their money back. It's a way to give back to the community, because you know what? Oftentimes, and it's been something that's in my head, but maybe it was something I never paid attention to it. There have been many times I'll go on social media and I'll be like, are there any black-owned stores that I could go and like buy certain clothes or certain types of outfits or certain things that I would want to wear that to give back to the community, that sort of thing. Even like with the gay community, like there's gay-owned businesses that I know of that I go online and who knows? I'll even probably look into that. Gay-owned apps, an app that shows you where like the LGBT-owned businesses are. If you want to get a cake made from a gay person, or if you want to get a T-shirt from Bobby Jander or Swiss Embassy, or these other companies that are creating T-shirts and jock straps and all these different things that we all like. I think it's a great idea, because it is difficult, especially for someone like me, to try to find black-owned businesses in a lot of places, because we don't know about them. The media is not going to tell us. The media don't even acknowledge black folk. You know, we had the recent thing with, unless you're getting shot, of course, you know, when you want to start up a situation with that, but that's a whole nother story. Or if you want to bring up, Black Lives Matter, that's the only time Black Lives do matter, is when Black Lives Matter happens to come and they can't ignore it, or whatever situation is going on with that. So if it has to do anything with embodying racial stereotypes, is kind of like when mainstream media wants to pipe up, or when TMZ only wants to talk about black people, is when they beating somebody ass. If Chris Brown doing something, if Trey Songz is doing something. So we need that other half of the positivity. And I just also heard that what was it? Steph Curry and Diddy dropped out of the running to own the Panthers. That I guess they were outbid, so they're not putting their money behind that. It's unfortunate that we don't have a black-owned football team, but put your money in something much more interesting and to invest. And I have to say that to me would be having your own black-owned business. So, shout out to that. I just saw an article that literally just popped up that I'm going to jump right into off of the XXL.com, and it's about DMX. And this was not on the docket today, but something about DMX could face 5 years in prison in his tax evasion case. So, I love me some DMX. I'm a fan of the debut album. What is it? The fuck? How did I forget the goddamn name? The album had Get At Me Dog on it. It was like in blood and all that stuff. Get At Me Dog. Those my shits. As hard. What is it? As hell is hot as some shit. Look, forgive me. My brain is having a moment. I cannot remember the damn debut album's name. But anyway, I am a DMX fan. It was one of the things that me and my cousin, God rest his soul, he was murdered by his baby's mother. And that whole situation. So I'm that was one of the things that we bonded off of back in the day when DMX came out. Like, we were like big fans and that sort of thing. So it pretty much has a personal resonation with me with DMX, and how he was just like this raw, nasty, not in the way of raw, nasty, like what's his name? Old Dirty Bastard. Where he used to talk about getting gonorrhea and shit and rapping about it in a song. But I'm talking about like raw nasty in regards of like the shit he was talking about. So, but he hasn't managed to get his life in order, because DMX has always had this long battle with drugs and that sort of thing. So that's what always kind of hurt me with DMX, that this motherfucker could never get his shit together when he has so many obstacles and opportunities to make himself a better person. So He's set to go before a judge to be sentenced in his tax evasion case next week, and the prosecutors might be looking to make an example out of the rapper with the sentence they suggested. As previously reported last July, Earl Simmons is his real name, was hit with tax evasion charges after the IRS accused him of owing $1.7 million. The institution alleged the rapper concealed his income from tracks he dropped back in the early 2000s, with the feds naming his 2003 track, X Gon' Give It To You, as one of them. They claim he also hid finances in surrogate bank accounts. Well, where them accounts at? Because he got like 15 kids and like 9 baby mothers. It's like the same thing I said about Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap got like 7 kids with like 5 baby mothers or something or another. And I said, this motherfucker got more babies than hits. How does the amount of children you have outweigh the amount of hits you got on the damn charts? I don't understand these buffoons. I was going to say these niggas. But I just don't understand y'all with this, as I call it, nigga nonsense. Like, y'all just out here enforcing the worst stereotypes of people. I mean, yeah, we all know white people do the same damn shit. Like, look at Kris Avalon. Got, like, 6 children from 3 different women. I'm about to get into him in a minute. But I just want to talk about this whole situation with him. So, he pleaded not guilty, but he pleaded guilty to the charges in November. And at first, he pleaded not guilty, but in November, he pleaded guilty to the charges and avoided a maximum penalty of up to 40 years behind bars if convicted. So, according to June H. Kim, who operates as the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York at the time, he basically said, today Earl Simmons admitted to systematically cheating on his taxes by insisting to be paid in cash whenever possible and having royalty payments diverted to the accounts of financial surrogates. Simmons has concealed hundreds of thousands of dollars of income tax from the IRS. Here's the thing. You know what? This is one thing y'all can't fuck with the IRS. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy, because they will always find you. They will always come at you. Same thing, Miss Cardi B. You need to learn that too, because I saw like recently there was an article that came out where she was wondering what's happening with her money. Like when you file taxes, they're like, oh, they're taking so many taxes. Like, what are y'all doing with my money? Where's this money going? The girl, don't question the IRS, because you know the minute you start questioning the IRS, they're going to come after you. They're going to find some stuff that you've been doing, what you've been up to. They're going to dig into your shit, and bitch, you're going to wind up in jail before you can push out this baby you're about to have an offset. And we don't need you stressing yourself out and having a miscarriage, God forbid, any of that other stuff. So let it go. Don't question the IRS. Let them do what they're doing. Let them be the scandalous bastards that they are, and move on. Just go after Sally Mae if you got any student loans, because they tried it too. But anyway, let's get into, like I was talking about, because I was talking about Kris Avalon and them kids and the child support and all other stuff. Let's get into Britney Spears. So her father, Jamie, is, because what is it? Early in the week, the story came out, and I think I talked about this on last week's episode, if I remember, that, okay. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Wait, hold. This damn live shit is happening again. But anyway, I'm gonna still keep going, child, because I got like, oh Lord Jesus, I got like 34 minutes. Well, it's 34 minutes after the hour. So, anyway, the whole thing with Britney and that whole sort of thing, Kevin wants more money, because I guess he's getting $20,000 a month, and he feels like that's still not enough money for him to support his 2 children that he has with Britney. So, Britney's father, Jamie, is calling Kris Avalon's bluff that he needs more child support to care for the 2 kids he had with the singer. Jamie will demand to see Kevin's 2017 tax return to see if he's working for a living or sponging off of her. K-Fed's lawyer sent Jamie Spears a letter on Tuesday demanding her 2017 tax return. Kevin will be getting the exact same letter in the next day or so. According to TMZ, Jamie isn't budging. He won't agree to pay Kevin a cent over the $20,000 a month he's been getting until Kevin gives him a full accounting of how the money is being spent. Jamie believes Kevin is misusing some of the $20,000 by spending it on his 4 other children from different women. So far, K-Fed and his lawyer haven't provided such an accounting, although they have demanded more child support. Jamie's position, the kids' needs haven't changed, so the only issue is whether $20,000 a month cuts it. Also, I want to say this. This was another thing that I disagreed wholeheartedly with Wendy Williams on. Because she's like, oh, well, those kids want the new Jordans and the new Yeezys and the new this and and as a breadwinner, I can give my own goddamn kids Yeezys. Would I need to give money to Kevin to give them Yeezys when I can take them to the store? If I have partial custody of my children and you coming to me with in Vegas, well, now Brittany's about to hit the road and start traveling and all that other stuff. So, okay. So, what is it? Okay, so now I got it working again because this shit is getting on my goddamn nerves. But anyway, I don't know, it's the signal. But anyway, so I feel like Brittany can buy her own kids stuff. 20 grand a month should be enough for anybody. That's more than what I'm making a month. So, $20,000 that I'm giving you in child support, where's all that money going? Is it the Costco bill? Is it BJ's? Is it a bunch of other stuff? Like, what's the tea with where I want to know. I want to see the yearly receipts, just like you do your taxes with the IRS and all this stuff. You send that shit over to them, and then you get a amount back that you pay off, and then the money that you get back. I want to see the receipts on it. I want to know, what are you spending $20,000 a month on? It can't possibly be on your two children. I truly believe, I don't know if Kevin's working. I heard he's married and he's living his life wherever the hell he is, and he's been a stand-up guy down. So, I mean, anybody would if the woman you knocked up twice went crazy, shaved her head, and started beating fucking parked cars with umbrellas. But I suppose to say is that $20,000, in my opinion, is enough for someone to support a child with. Because my thing is, what are you using that money for? That's what I'm wondering. Like, I need to see the receipts on that. So I wholeheartedly agree with Jamie, who is a conservator of Brittany's money, because Brittany goes crazy with her spending and all the stuff that was going on, and the father feels like, I need to do this. But my thing is this: at what point, because Brittany is 36 years old, at what point does Brittany take back responsibility for her own money? And because God forbid anything happens to the father, who is the next person in line to be socially responsible for Brittany's spending? And I'm sure you have to keep her on a budget and this, that, and the third. So that's what I'm wondering is like, when do I get to take back spending on my own shit? Like, when do I get to prove that I can afford to take care of myself and my children and have a say-so on how my money is dealt out and how on that all that other stuff? Because look. It'd be embarrassing if I'm 40 years old and I don't know how to balance a checkbook. Like, who does that? Where they do that at? Like, let me be responsible for my own career, my own shit. So that's what I say. So, do I think that Kevin Federline deserves all this money? No, I don't. I feel like if he's using 20 grand not only to spend money on the two kids I have with Brittany, Jaden James and Sean Preston. Surprisingly, I remember their damn names. If I had to wear, if I'm spending money, and not only on that, but on Shaw Jackson's kids that I had with her, and then, American Crime Story, Versace. I did not see, the last episode. I did not see the series finale. I need to catch up on it. I've seen all the other episodes. And I definitely need to catch up on the series finale. We all know how it ends. Like, Andrew Cunanan never gets caught. He pretty much killed himself. So, spoiler alert in case you didn't know that. But here's the thing. It's a true story that happened like 20 years ago. So if you just now catching up on Versace and you don't know the whole history, like, I can't help you with that. Like, if you're worried about spoilers and shit. So here's what he pretty much said when facing the criticisms about whether or not the Versace family liked the show. And this is what he told E! News. He basically said, but I also think what Donatella did to Antonio was really shitty, and so I really don't care what she thinks, other than we were really truthful to Maureen's book, and we did our own reporting. But I also really admire Donatella because I think what she did was impossible. Her brother was gunned down, he was the love of her life, other than her children, and he was taken from her. And she was faced with an insurmountable position, and she kept that business going in the face of great odds. That she really accomplished something. And I also think that Penelope portrayed her as such. I don't know. I could never think about that because that would cloud what we created, how we created the work, and I was just trying to find the truth. I was entertained by the show. I did feel a little icky at times because I'm like, okay, so you did all the research and everything, and then you based it off of a book that was a best-selling book that was written about it. But I also felt a little uneasy at parts because I'm like, well, how would they know all this? So I'm sure you know, in writing you embellish a little bit because you have to drive the narrative forward. But this is also why I have to say, you know what? One of the reasons why we need marriage equality. I was going to call it gay marriage, but it's not just gays that should be getting married. I believe if you're trans, you want to marry, you should be able to get married. If you're a lesbian, you should be able to get married. Anybody a part of the LGBT spectrum. So what I want to say is that this is why it is vitally important. Wait, I think I agree too with Brittany. I do think that she's ready to be in control of her career, but she has to prove it. She has to show it. And I feel like most recently, I'm gonna get back to Donatella in a minute, but most recently, what she has to do, she really has to step her pussy up and show that she's ready to kind of step up and be the person that we all know that she's capable of being. So, okay, back to Donatella. So, I'm glad that she's created, like, she's taken the Versace empire to where she's taken it for the past 20 years. I'm glad it's still a thriving fashion house. I'm glad that it's doing what it's doing. I do think that what she did to Antonio was despicable. I know that, you know, homophobia and all this stuff was prominent in the late 90s, that marriage equality is a relatively new thing. But I do feel like Antonio and Versace well and truly loved each other. They knew what their marriage was and all the other situations that happened with it. But I don't like how Donatella treated Antonio throughout. The research is out there. The true tea is out there. So I don't like how Donatella treated Antonio when you know when he was part of the family, and we saw it play out on the show, and it's unfortunate. So, that's why I said, yeah, we need marriage equality, because if we don't have marriage equality, if we don't have marriage equality, then we have situations where, should my significant other die, we have a situation that works for us, but the family wants to chime in, and you know how it is, particularly in families of color. You're the best friend, or you're this, or you're that. He's just a friend in the family. Or we've seen it time and time again, especially if you're a gay man of color and you're a significant other. There was a story I heard the other day. Well, something I was watching. I don't remember what it was, but then it was like the significant other wasn't even invited to the funeral when their partner died, because the family didn't even want to acknowledge the family member. I mean, the significant other. We don't want that embarrassment, because, I mean, you weren't even in your son's life, but because you didn't approve of the person that he was an openly gay man, or this and we see this happen time and time again, where the significant other, the person who was there for your son or daughter through thick and thin, is not acknowledged by the family because you don't want to acknowledge that part of their life. And we have this happen too much. This is why I say we need marriage equality, because of those exact reasons. So we still have a long way to go with that, and it's unfortunate. So let's get to the LGBT that I wanted to tell you all about. T as in TEA, not the T as in trans. So word on the street is that Cara Delevingne might be dating Paris Jackson. So, according to Page Six, the pair was spotted smooching in Los Angeles while out with Jackson's godfather, Macaulay Culkin, and his girlfriend, Brenda Song, at Steakhouse Carlitos. Earlier this week, Jackson Instagrammed a video of her and Delevingne eating strawberries and watching the 2015 movie Carol about a lesbian relationship. Really, could y'all be any more of a damn cliche with that? The pair have been spending time together since first meeting in May 2017 at the MTV Movie and TV Awards. Reps for both did not get back at us. If this is true, I think they make a cute couple. I definitely like to see that whole situation happen between them. I do find it fascinating. It's like, why wouldn't there be why wouldn't there be a Jackson that's out of the closet or sexually fluid? So if Cara Delevingne and Paris Jackson are dating, congratulations. I believe at one point who was it that dated Cara Delevingne at one point? Michelle Rodriguez, I believe, also dated her at one point. So, child, if you can handle that, that infamous cootie cat, then by all means. Okay, so speaking of Cardi B, I wanted to get into this real quick. So Cardi B is basically opening up about, in the latest issue of Cosmopolitan, she's speaking about the whole Me Too movement. And she said that she doesn't see the support reaching women of the hip-hop world anytime soon. According to Cardi, it's just not the musicians and performers who deal with sexual harassment. Video models, often seen and not heard, are typically silenced when they discuss what they deal with. She said, a lot of video vixens have spoken about this and nobody gives a fuck. I bet if one of these women stands up and talks about it, people are going to say, so what? You're a hoe. It don't matter. And she actually looks good on the cover of Cosmo. Looking thick in all the right places and this, that, and the third. She also shared a personal experience on the matter. She said, when I was trying to be a vixen, people were like, you want to be the cover of this magazine, then they pull their dicks out. The focus on hashtag MeToo came out of a larger conversation that Cardi had with Cosmo about the lack of respect for strippers. Cardi notably came into her own through Instagram, documenting her day-to-day life as a stripper in New York before appearing on Love and Hip Hop. That we all know the whole story about that. And then she went 5 times platinum with her #1 hit, Bodak Yellow. So Bodak Yellow sold 5 million copies. And to elaborate more on this, she's absolutely right. I do feel like we've had this conversation numerous times on this show where we basically talk about how people who are in the nightlife business, people who are in the porn business, or that sort of thing, we don't respect strippers, we don't respect porn stars, we don't respect these people who work in who do sex work because you feel, or just in that form of entertainment, because stripping is not necessarily sex work. There are dancers, male dancers, and I'll say this for a fact, at certain establishments, I'm not going to reveal, but there are places where there are strippers male strippers at gay establishments who will shake their behind on the box, but they also work the rounds on the floor and try to take you in the back and give you lap dances. And we all know what goes on back there in those rooms. If you don't know what's going on in those rooms, I'll inform you on what goes on in those rooms. A lot of times sex is involved. So for 20 or more, a lot of these men will go back there and let you blow them. They will blow you. They will perform anal sex, either on you or on them, sometimes without a condom. I've never done this. I've never gone in those rooms to do this, but I know people who have, and they've told me these stories. And this is at not only these are at urban establishments, any kind of establishment where there's strippers and stuff involved. So there are people who don't do that, and they get kind of lumped into that category, and it's unfortunate, but I do feel like just because someone takes their clothes off and makes money stripping or does porn or whatever, it does not give you the right to assault them in a way that is inappropriate because of this situation. It's their job. It's a job that they're doing. They're there to make money. Now, you can ask someone what their boundaries are, but I feel like a lot of times you have people who are overtly disrespectful and think because you're perpetuating sex that you're nothing but an object and I can treat you any which way that I want. And to me, it's not right and it's inappropriate. So, shout out to Cardi B for saying that and bringing light to that. And it is unfortunate because I'm sure there's lots of video vixens who went through that. And I'm sure one of them, even though I'm sure everybody probably give me the side eye for saying this, we could throw Superhead in that whole situation because I'm sure she dealt with it too. I'm sure Superhead, but Superhead found a way, Corinne Steffens, but we all know her as Superhead. But the thing what Superhead did was she took her power back in the form of writing a bunch of books about the matter and putting a lot of these rappers and putting a lot of these people who work in hip-hop on blast for the things that they've done. One of being like Ja Rule and a whole bunch of other rappers that she slept with. So she took her power back, in my opinion, in that way. Not a lot of people have this luxury. Not many people have made it out on the other side. We're lucky to see people like, Cardi B who have made it out on the other side of it. I don't know if we could put Eve in this situation, but Eve said that she was a stripper, but she was a lazy stripper. And she only lasted about, 2 to 3 months? So there's that. Okay, so let's move on because we got like 10 minutes left in the show. Ashanti came forward with her own Me Too experience of sexual harassment while speaking as a guest during SiriusXM's Conversations with Maria Menounos. I didn't even know she had a damn radio show, but shout out to Maria. Ashanti revealed that what a producer once tried to make her do. Here's what she said. She said, I've come across a situation where there was a certain producer that, he had his little crush or whatever, but it wasn't anything new. She said, once I said no, all of a sudden the track became $45,000. It's funny because he says something like, "Well, just take a shower with me and let me do this." She recalled. Ashanti, who is now 37, said that lucky for her, she had scary big brothers who approached the producer and got their sister an apology. She said, the way the apology came in, I actually got 3 records for free, she said, and I got 2 of them mixed and mastered for free also. The happy singer said, some women aren't so lucky, and this is why the Me Too movement is important, so that no more women had to feel pressure into doing anything just to make it. I'm blessed because I have that, she's told Menounos, adding, of harassment in the business. It happened, it does, and it's unfortunate. Ashanti, we all know, was discovered by, and then as a teenager signed to Murder Inc., so on and so forth. I do hope that more people come out with this story and put people on blast, like Russell Simmons, who is being sued for allegedly raping a woman and threatening her child. According to TMZ, the woman who's filed as a Jane Doe, and in her lawsuit said that she was chaperoning her son, who was in elementary school, at a hip-hop concert when Simmons approached and invited them backstage to meet the headliner. She says they accepted the offer, and afterwards Simmons invited her to party at the Clarion Hotel in the LA area. She says she dropped off her kid, then hung with Simmons at a hotel bar and a nightclub. According to the suit obtained by TMZ, he eventually told her he needed to go to his hotel room to get something. She says when they got there, he closed the door and said, "I'm gonna fuck you." When she said no, she claims Simmons fired back, "I'm gonna fuck you, I'm gonna fuck your son. You decide." In the suit, she says, Simmons then threw her on the bed and raped her. She says at least one person in the hotel saw her leave Simmons' room in tears. She's suing for at least $10 million. The suit was first reported at the Daily Mail. This is not the first time that he's been getting a lawsuit of this. Jennifer Jurasic filed a $5 million suit against him in January, also saying that he had raped her. He's denied these allegations. We'll keep you posted on this as it develops. If this story is true, this is disgusting. Russell, ain't no amount of meditation and yoga gonna pull you from out of this shit if this shit is true. Let's give a shout out to Utah, who has seen a spike in the number of straight identifying men having sexual relations. So according to Kristen Hodson, a sex therapist who founded the Rocky Mountain Sex Summit, the answer is yes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's been so much historic suppression in Utah, Hodson, who teaches human sexuality at the University of Utah, tells the Bristol Herald Courier. People eventually get to the point where they realize sexuality is inherently who we are, it just is. It could also be due, in my opinion, to Utah. Isn't that like the capital of Mormonism? Like, that's the Utah state. I mean, the Utah state, the Mormon state, excuse me. Because there's a lot of Mormons that live in Utah. So you have these people who are ridiculously religious. And so there's this thing about, with religion comes sexual shame. Like, you have people, like, when you look at The View and you see the pig on the end, where she's uncomfortable talking about sex, and the one that sits next to her, Sunny Hostin, where they get uptight, "Oh, I'm a Catholic, and I'm conservative, and blah, 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 blah." And it's like, we all know religious folk are the biggest freaks. We all know this. So, my thing is that, you know what, if you're feeling oppressed and you don't want to come out with your sexuality and stuff, by all means, live up your truth and live in your truth and be who you are, and don't be afraid of being who you are, because there comes a point where it's like, you know what, you got to start living for you and not worry about what other people think. There was an article that I saw also where they were pretty much saying that if LGBTQIA, P2, LMNOP, QRSTUV, WXY, and Z is a mouthful, that we should all learn all these different acronyms, because people within the LGBTQ, LMNOP, QRSTUV, WXY, and Z community feel left out of the conversation. And my thing is this: if you're feeling left out of the conversation, that you don't feel included, because to me, LGBTQ checks all the boxes. LGBTQ plus, in my opinion, feels like it checks all the boxes. If you feel like an acronym identifies you as who you are, then I think you really need to look and check what your real priorities are. Because to me, it's like adding an extra color rainbow to a flag is not going to determine that you're part of the LGBT community. Because the reality is, and we got Pride coming up in like, what, 2 months? New York Pride in 2 months? We got the big Pride. Ooh. And people are going to sit there and try to act like that's why we're having this situation in regards of why we're not feeling included. It goes further than the attitude of that. So we need to look beyond that and have this conversation why, with this whole racial inequality that we feel within the community, or being fetishized and a bunch of other stuff, and why when it's like we have these different parades, and yet when we have the main one, you get to see all the different floats and the different parts of the community. You can see the bear community, the leather community, the non-polyamory, the polyamorous, or the ones who don't, the gender non-binary types and all this other stuff. So we get all those different things, but the conversation goes deeper than that, and we have to look beyond that situation in order to be considered or heard, or whatever the case is. Okay. There's also a story that I had saw about 92% of young gay men want marriage and monogamy. I think that story is bullshit, or maybe it is just read into the title. 92% of young men want to get married. So the idea is they want to get married, but do they want to put in the work to be married or to be monogamous? Or what is your definition of monogamy? Is it monogamy that, because people feel like being in an open relationship isn't monogamous. I actually beg to differ. I believe you can be in a monogamous relationship with more than one person. It's like you and your partner, you define you're monogamous. You love each other. You come back to each other at the end of the day. But these people over here, we're just fucking. We just need to get it out of our system. Oh, he's hot. I just want to get up in them cookies, or whatever the case is. I want him to blow my back out. So monogamy and that sort of thing is what you define it as. It is not what the heteronormative definition of wanting to be married or wanting to be monogamous, whatever that means. So people are trying to equate that with what the heteronormative idea is, but the reality is heterosexuals aren't necessarily following their own advice of what it is to be monogamous, what it means to be monogamous. It's not true at all. So I say all that to say, like I said before, define it as what you want to define it as, and just take it from there. Relationships go on a relationship by relationship basis. You cannot measure what you do to what someone else does. But what I can do, I can't do that, but what I can do is bid you all adieu, darlings, because we are now down to the wire and at the end of the show. Thank you all for listening to the Kris Avalon Show. Tune in next time, same place next week, 2 to 4 on alldigitalradio.com. Right now we have a rerun of the Do Dirty Show coming up, followed by the weekly Top 40 hosted by DJ Baker, and we have a bunch of other shows coming up afterwards. I love you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to run my mouth for 2 hours and to have the platform that I have to spread love and spread info and be the messenger that I was built to be. So I love you all for listening. Once again, ciao, lovers. I want to thank you all for listening too, even though I've been having signal damn problems. So I don't know if it's been interfering on your side. Let me know if it has. But there's just been too many goddamn interruptions that's been happening with the whole thing with the signal and this bullshit that's been going on with that. But I love you all for listening as I sip my smart water. And I'll talk to you all later. Ciao, darlings.